I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee EcoDiesel 2015, and I'm doing a diesel particulate filter regeneration. Soot builds up off of these diesel engines. It gets carried into a chamber, and the chamber fills up, and at a certain point the engine heats up and burns off the soot. I have found personally that my chamber fills up and it reaches 100%, and the chamber just does not burn off even when I'm reaching highway driving speeds. And what I've found is I've done the manual regen myself, and the regeneration process brings the car up to 2,500 RPMs to get the chamber hot enough to burn the soot off. My car, when I'm at highway speeds of 60 miles an hour, or here in Canada, 110 kilometers an hour, the RPMs just don't get that high, and I don't think the chamber gets hot enough to burn off the soot. I've had to manually, I've had to go into the garage regularly to have the mechanic do a manual regen, and I pay a lot of money for this, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I decided to do it on my own. I feared there's two things that I needed to buy. One is this OBDLinkMX Plus. Disclaimer, look this up for yourself, find the right one for your vehicle, and when you get it, I expected a larger thing, but all it is this, and it basically plugs into the little port underneath the steering wheel. If you got most cars have them down here. I'm not gonna put it in right now, but you'll find the port down there. Just plug it in. All right, there it is, plugged in, and for the first time setup, there's a small button on the bottom left. Press that button, it's right underneath the O letter, and that'll put the device into pairing mode for Bluetooth. Find the device on your phone. You can read the device from your iPhone with the iOS operating system, but and you can hook up to it, but you still need an application to access the ECU, the computer on the car. That application is a separate one that doesn't come with this device. You have to buy that separately, and I'll show it. Unfortunately, that application only runs on Android or on Windows if you want to connect to your computer via Bluetooth. So I'm connecting here to my my Android tablet, and let's see if I can find it in here. Find the device. There it is, OBDLinkMX, whatever. Press it, and I'll connect to it, and I'll be online. And then what I'm going to do is run the application that I use to start the manual regen. And you can see the car's running right now. The instructions ask you to get the car to a warm temperature, because you are going to, when you do the regeneration, the engine's going to ramp up to 2,500 RPMs, and it's better to have the car warmed up. The application that I found to purchase was AlfaOBD. It's my webcam going on, and I paid for it. It was talk about money. That device that I just showed you before, that cost me, it was a couple $100 Canadian, and the application, this one is $50 US. So the whole thing, all in, taxes in, 300 Canadian, which would be 220, 230 US. The first thing you do is find your vehicle. You can select it through these drop downs here. All right, just go through and find your make and model. I'm not going to show that. Actually, I am going to show the make and model for the Jeep, because the application is not completely up to date with all the different models that are out there. So I was confused by this one, the Grand Cherokee WK, WK2, etc. I used AI. I just went on and said, here is my specific car, and I might even put the VIN in to say which car should I select in the AlfaOBD application, and it told me to pick Grand Cherokee WK2. It's fine, so I've done that. And then you get to the point, select function. What do you want to do? This is where you're gonna you want to do the manual regen. So you select the function, and then there's all this stuff in here, so that you can, if you want to, you can control all aspects of your car, and just to do whatever you want to do or take a look. But I'm going to go to the engine. Select the control unit. Okay, so my car was specifically not in here, I looked at AI. It said to pick the one with this Italian engine, and then, which is not on here. So then I said, okay, that engine doesn't exist on AlfaOBD. What should I pick? And I said, pick the EcoDiesel Bosch EDC 17. So I picked that one. So that's the engine control unit. connection not connected, so I need to connect now. Just do that, and it's connecting to the device, the OBD, and it will do that momentarily. I'll stop and come back. It's connected, great. And of course, this I showed before, you connect your device to the Bluetooth connection for the device down by the steering wheel, and then your app connects to the device, which is what we're showing here. And on the bottom of the screen, and this is where it was not clear at all, but you can set up some graphs. Do that first. And you want to do things like set the, you can set the RPMs, you can track the RPMs, you can track the engine temperature, or actually not the engine temperature, but the temperature of the exhaust coming out of the diesel chamber. And you can connect, you can show a graph of the percentage of the soot level in the chamber. So I'll go through and pick those. So I'm picking here, so select the gauges to scan. You just click this, and then everything comes up. So you can just pick whatever you want. I picked ones that I thought were interesting to me. So engine RPMs, I wanted to see that. Water temperature, I think that'd be the coolant temperature. I'm interested just to track that. And you can see all the other stuff, in there. And you can see, if you want to, you can get super detail on all kinds of things, depending what your problem is. I'll take intake air temperature, why not? I don't know what most of these things are, in fact. Okay, particulate filter exhaust gas. So that's going to be the temperature, not exactly of the chamber, but it'll be the temperature of the gas coming out, and you could say that's a proxy for the temperature in the chamber. And then you've got percentage of soot mass, so that should be the percentage of the fill rate of the chamber. Okay, so when you're done with that, just get out okay at the bottom. All right, and there are the three graphs. When you start to do the regen, these graphs will fire up. What you want to do is, there's the graphs there. This is the actual procedures you're going to run, so press that, and that will come up with this menu. So what do you want to do? So select the procedure to start. So you want to select the procedure. So again, we're still on engine, so you can go through all the procedures you can run on your engine. I'm going to go through and look for one that relates to the regeneration. There it is. So DPF, diesel particulate filter regeneration enabling. What that's doing is that's a setting on your car to automatically burn off the soot. So that should always be enabled. And there's particulate filter regeneration. That's the one I want. And then start. So the car is warmed up. You can see the temperature is approaching normal running temperature. And let's see what happens when I press start. Oh, condition not observed. Coolant temperature is not warming up. So I've got to let this car warm up even more. Back to the gauges. I'm going to start the gauges up. You press the little arrow. And then I should start to see some numbers. So I want the water temp. I'm thinking the coolant temperature is the water temperature over here, and you can see it start to roll up. I pressed the gas pedal. You can hear it going up, and you can see the water temperature increasing. And let me see, it's at 57 degrees right now. I've got to get it up to whatever it said before, 54. I think I'm high enough right now. By the way, just out of interest, so I'm there's the RPMs. I'm pressing the gas pretty hard right now and getting the RPMs up to 2,500. When I'm not in gear right now, when I am in gear on the highway, I found I don't get it up to, I get it to about 2,000 RPMs when I'm at a highway speed. So what you could do if you wanted to do this manually on the road, drop the gear down to a lower gear so the engine's working harder, and that'll get the RPMs up if you want to do that. Anyways, but there's an example of the graphs. So engine speed, you can see as I crank put more diesel into the motor, the RPMs increase. You can see the temperature going up. The intake air temperature is gone up a little bit. You'd think it would be flat though, because it's intake air coming in. And there's the particulate filter temperature. And this is going to get, it's right there, it's 139. It's going to get really hot, actually, when you start the regen, because the engine will heat the particulate filter up, and when it gets hot enough, it'll be like an oven and just burn the soot off. All right, I'll try this again. I'll take my foot off the gas pedal. So the condition was not observed before. The coolant temperature was too cool. I think it should be hopefully warm enough now, but this sensor will tell me. Conditions okay. Press next to continue. And then you can hear the engine ramp up. There it goes. So that is the application taking control of my computer and increasing the RPMs, and then hence the temperature in the particulate filter chamber. So this is going to run for however long it takes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And when the soot level is reduced, the engine will automatically reduce in RPMs, and you can tell that right away. And yeah, it just really cranked up there to 2,500. And then going back down here to my menus, I'll go back to the graphs, and you can see there's the engine RPM speed. Water temperature continues to go up. Intake temperature continues to go up. And there is the temperature of the particulate filter. And you should see that continue to go up, actually. I don't know, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing there with these flashing things. I'm just wondering why it's not, oh, data recording stopped. Okay, I was recording there. I was hoping to see the graph of this continue to go up. I'm just hitting the plus minus thing. Oh, that's the percentage of soot mass. So it's at 56% right now. And when I did this before, I did not see the percentage go down. When the engine RPMs went down to normal and the burn off had completed, this went down all in one go to 10% or something. And then I actually did this a few days ago, and the particulate warning came on again to drive at high speeds in the engine. So I'm doing this just 3 or 4 days after I'd done a manual regen earlier. So I might have to do this a few times before it's working. Okay, so there's the and the engine speed does not appear right. It should be 2,500 RPMs. So unless this reading is out of sync somehow with the car, that does not look correct to me. I don't know why. Water temperature continues to go up, and then it'll peak out at some point. Intake air temperature kind of seems to have peaked out. The temperature of the chamber, it should be getting a lot higher than that, actually. I'm just pressing the on-off button on the gauge on the top. Anyways, I can't explain that. It should be getting a lot hotter. I'll turn this off until the procedure's over. Just out of interest, the RPMs did come up to exactly what it reads on the gauge on the car, 2,500. Water temperature, 81 Celsius, right there. Intake air temperatures come down. Probably a valve opened up. Particulate filter at there's the temperature, much better now, 586. I think when I was showing this before, it just hadn't done a read. The device hadn't done a read of the ECU, which it did now, and you can see it's 586 Celsius, so it's hot in that chamber. And then the particulate is still reading maybe a little bit lower than what it was before, but it's still showing 56. I think this is all speculation on my part. I think that the chamber needs to get up to a high temperature, and it needs to sit there for a while before the soot starts burning off, okay? I'm not sure about that, but, and as I said before, I observed that this graph did not show the decline in the percentage until the whole procedure was finished. But anyways, like I said, I'll let this sit for as long as it takes. Like, the application reads the ECU about every minute. So you can see 150 seconds, 300 seconds, 450 seconds, and you can see the top one. This is the RPMs maintained at 2,500 RPMs. This is the water temperature is maxing out because the coolant is being valves open in the coolant circulation system and keep the engine cool. So you'd expect that temperature to go up, and then just to max out as the radiator, etc., does its job. There's the intake air temperature, so that's, as I expected, pretty consistent. I do think the air was coming in, it was quite hot, and then a valve opened up or something, and then the air intake cooled down. And then there's the particulate, that's the temperature of the chamber. It reached a max of about 582, and then stayed pretty consistent. That looks like its max temperature. And then the percentage of soot is maintained at 56. So it looks like either that's true, it is maintaining at 56 because the soot's not burning off yet, or it just doesn't read very well while the thing is so hot. Just came down, you can see on the gauge, and you can see what's happening here. So the RPMs have come down to 640, water temp down to 90, or it stayed at 91. It'll stay there because that's its operating temperature. Intake air temp pretty consistent. Exhaust gas temp 520, and you can see it's starting to, I don't know if I can drag this around, but yeah, you can see it's starting to fall off there on the right because the engine's not at high RPMs any longer. And then there's the percentage of soot mass. It says 9.8%. So hopefully we've brought that from 58 or whatever down to 10, and this thing is better. So like I said, I did this 3 or 4 days ago, and that 9.8% went back up to 58. I don't know if that was true, if the reading was just a bit, incorrect. But we got the readout, we got the message on the dashboard to drive at highway temperatures just 3 or 4 days after I did this manual regen. And that happened all the time when I would take this into the mechanic. So I just think it's a real problem with these older diesel engines in Jeeps, quite honestly, myself. I know that they're a problematic fit of the European engine into the electronics and the chassis of the American-made Jeeps. So anyways, that's about it. I did this video because I found I couldn't get good videos on YouTube or the internet. So I decided to buy the Bluetooth device. That worked great. I got this app, which worked great, only on Android. And then I was able to just tinker with it until I figured it out. So I did this video to show other Jeep diesel owners what to expect and what to do. So I hope you all find this interesting and that it works for you.